the Dauntless. Put the weapon away, specialist. Linda orders him and he barely even looks at her. Why is there enough semtex to unbalance a spire in the building? Why am I the second most dangerous thing here despite the black hole I can conjure at will? Who the hell thought it was a good idea to have more semtex than entire countries use in a single building, armed and ready to blow? Barnabas demands, his voice going lower and more threatening with every sentence. The manager stutters in horror as she takes in the presence of Barnabas as he looms over her. There's little in the way of kindness at this point, as apparently most of his mind is in agreement that her continued existence is a bad thing. His eyes narrow and the manager outright collapses to his shock. He flinches back a little and then looks oddly towards Linda, who has been slowly reaching for her shock pistol. What now? You were going to kill her. I was not. I need answers. Why is there enough boom to kill us, everyone in the surrounding buildings, and possibly even drop this chunk of this level into the one below us? Do you have any idea how many thousands will die if that mess went undetected? How do you know? I have a spy in the building. That distraction earlier was to get them in so we could find the extremely dangerous explosive and do something about it. But there's more than I feared. This woman has the blasting munitions to possibly topple an entire spire, killing billions. She's just a shift manager. If she has the authority or means to have it all put together, I'll eat my pistol. Do you have any idea how many laws you broke getting that information? Linda snaps at him and he gestures towards the main part of the building. There is a kiloton of death in spitting distance. A single spark at the wrong moment and thousands, including us, are dead. Now is not the time for nice. He snaps back. He then picks up the manager by the shoulders and frisks her for a card key. We need in the building, warrant or not, to disable that bomb. The agent in there has shut off its transceiver, but nothing more. They don't have the proficiency to do more, but I do. So what, you're just going to disable the extremely deadly bomb by yourself? Yes, he says, stepping out of the office. He runs the key card through the reader and then enters the main factory. All right, silent, front and center. Linda's eyes widen when a tiny figure drops down from above and waves for Barnabas to follow before taking off at a sprint. The big man keeps pace and she's left scrambling after them, unable to even protest when Barnabas outright tackles down a door reading danger. Keep out. Son of a bitch, he bellows at the sight of the bomb. It takes a few moments for Linda to catch up, and her jaw drops at the sight of the gigantic pallet of reddish-brown material. All over one end is a massive bundle of wires and what looks like a transceiver of some kind. The whole thing is on a hover pallet for ease of movement. Whoever set this up was getting ready to use it. No, you didn't mess up silent. You did the right thing trashing the transceiver. Yeah, it makes this a little more complicated for me, but the main threat of someone initiating the detonator has passed, Barnabas says as he closely examines the wires with a tiny flashlight and makes notes of where everything is going and what it does. How bad is it? Linda asks from a distance before walking up. It's very well put together, which is both good and bad. Good in that I should be able to pull this sucker apart without much, if any, risk. Bad in that whoever put this together did it the right way, meaning they're developing skills as a munitions expert, Barnabas says as he traces a few wires up and down a few times in size. Although if we find them, I'm going to bitch slap them hard for letting their wires get crossed so many times. Jesus Christ, this nightmare is a rat's nest. Silent suddenly types something out on his communicator and Barnabas receives it. Yes and no. It's a problem in that it's slowing me down, but it's only really a danger if the wires are exposed and don't have a protective sheath. These ones do. The signals won't get crossed, but following them is a bit of a pain. So, Linda begins, this thing is properly but sloppily put together. Everything is secured properly and all the components are factory fresh, but the wires are a mess and here we go. Barnabas cuts off his explanation and suddenly reaches into the bundle. He pulls a wire partway out and then reaches into his jacket to withdraw a pair of wire cutters. "All right, just need to do that a few more times and we're home free," he says as he begins tracing the next connection down. "Silent, get Stream and Vera in here. I need her nose and his expertise." The tiny child in the dark bodysuit nods before leaping upwards into the rafters high above and seemingly vanishing. "What kind of agent is that?" Linda asks, and Barnabas doesn't look up from his examination of the bomb. He is an infiltration expert. Centris is so jammed-packed with conspiracies ranging from petty to deadly that we need to have eyes and ears just about everywhere. Any less is to leave ourselves open to attack. He explains before finding another wire to cut and giving it a snip. "All right, 3 more and this should be disarmed." Should? There could be some alien bullshit going on here. This is a human device, but it wasn't made by humans, so there's no telling if there's a surprise or not. Barnabas notes, not mentioning that humans have a tendency to make their traps surprising by nature. "Hey, wow, look at that thing. Is it really enough to kill all of us if it goes off?" Vera asks, walking in with a panting Private Stream behind her. "It is indeed, although granted it won't be for much longer." "Sir, I didn't know you were an expert in bomb disposal. I focused on the munitions training back on Earth. Turned out to be pretty good at it. I nearly missed my calling by being an office drone after high school," he says before narrowing down and snipping another wire. "It almost looks like something out of a movie, sir. I mean, it's a lot smaller in the movies, but you don't need that many wires for a bomb, do you?" No, you don't. Good catch. I was too worried about the bomb being armed to worry about it being more like something out of a cartoon." Barnabas notes, frowning. "What about the wires? Are they color-coded? Are the red ones the dangerous ones?" Stream asks. "So far, no. I think our bomber was trying to be clever. The red wires appear to be traps, but at the same time, no. There is no wire pattern, as this red wire is the next one that has to be cut," he says, before there's a snip and nothing so much as fizzles. So I think we have someone trying so hard to be clever that they've turned around and gotten in their own way," Barnabas notes. "Unfortunately, someone who's watched human entertainment does not in any way narrow the suspect list. In fact, it only widens it. Maybe, but it might be proof that we're after someone immature enough to mistake entertainment for reality," Private Stream offers. "So we're looking for an idiot with a lot of money? Hey, that really doesn't narrow it down here on Centris," Vera jokes happily. "Yay, unfortunately," Barnabas says before making a final cut. "And that's that." "So it's done? It's safe to pull it apart?" Vera asks, walking up behind him. "Yes," he says, and she immediately grabs the mess of wires and rips it away. Everyone freezes even as the wires hit the wall. Barnabas lets out a sigh of relief. "Next time, please tell me when you're going to do something like that," Barnabas says, as he forcibly takes a more relaxed stance. "Yeah, no kidding, sir. I mean..." Private Stream begins and Barnabas turns around to regard him hard. "I think we've had our fill of the unassuming private. We need Operative Jameson," Barnabas says, and Private Stream stands up, looks at him hard for a moment, and then nods. The shift is as mundane as it is magical. As much to do with the boy's posture and the fact his coat has 2 sides. The hat is tucked away. The coat goes inside out to reveal a small arsenal of equipment and weapons, and his demeanor changes entirely. "All right then. I'm calling in Retrieval to take control of this substance for safe disposal and dispersal. There's ways to destroy Semtex without setting it off, and we're going to need to pump out industrial quantities of it. I've done my own digging specialist, Barnabas. I believe the owner of this factory, a Mallory Mixus, is responsible for this." Private Stream says, uncoupling a data chip from a device near his left breast and tossing it to Barnabas. Was all this just a test? Barnabas asks in a deadly serious tone. No. We weren't certain of a lot of things, but the moment we had confirmation, we began researching things. We also needed to get you to the bomb itself, as you are one of our best explosive experts and the most qualified person to do bomb disposal in 1,000 kilometers. Good. Because if we were playing with civilian lives, I would have to rethink my oaths and allegiances, Barnabas says lowly. Good to know, Operative Jameson says. What you should know, however, is that Mallory Mixus is aware of the danger coming at her and has hired bodyguards in the form of local Crimson Hewers, a Canador mercenary clan that specializes in power-armored combat. I see. They also have mono-serrated weapons. A mono weapon can go through steel like butter. Mono-serrated makes it hurt, Operative Jameson continues. As if a Takra fears pain, Vera boasts. How many guards are we talking about? 2. That's it? All right. Linda, think we have enough to arrest the woman and get her into interrogation? If the bomb wasn't here, then I would be arresting you. But yes, the bomb being here? It doesn't matter what else it's tied to. This level of explosive held in a cooking oil factory? It's beyond absurd. I'm requesting a warrant for her arrest and some backup. If she's hired Canador mercenaries, it means she's not going anywhere without a fight. Linda answers as she taps furiously on her communicator before sending a call through. Things are getting risky at this point. Mercenary or not, Takra or not, I can't in good consciousness let you come if you don't understand the risks. You could very well be killed if you keep following at this point. Pah! You can't scare off a Takra warrior. We're the greatest race the galaxy has ever been blessed with. Those Canador would be lucky to so much as scratch me. She boasts, and Barnabas raises an eyebrow. Hey, don't think I don't know what that means, human man. I'm tougher than anyone you've ever met. The eyebrow goes up a little further. I'm serious. Name anyone, anywhere at any time, and I'll knock their block off. I don't even need my war form. The eyebrow is already at its physically highest possible state, but it would be higher if it could be. It is so hard to not simply name himself and jump on her. Or see if one of the battle princesses of the Apuk could use some entertainment. He would love to see how a Takra stacks up. All right? Okay. Yes, I'll let him know. What? The Takra mercenary? Why? Oh, yes, ma'am. Linda says into her communicator before suddenly being quiet. Do you really think it might come to that? Yes, miss, I understand. I understand, she says and hangs up looking somewhat terrified. What's wrong? Barnabas asks. Conduct. This is an arrest, not a military action. You can be there for me for my protection. I'm going to have backup nearby. But I have to approach without my weapon out and attempt to make the arrest lawfully and peacefully. Even though she has mercenaries nearby and is clearly happy to have obscene amounts of explosives around, Barnabas asks, and she nods. Well, big guy here rips them apart pretty easily, and I can rip apart those oversized fuzzballs easily enough. What's the problem? Vera asks, and Barnabas grins in response even as Linda looks towards the Takra in shock. Sounds like we have a plan. We make the arrest, but be ready for action. Not alone you're not. There's going to be several silent nearby to keep you safe, Operative Jameson says.